Hi, I'm Dawn Stensland-Menti. So, ever hear of a God box? It is a phenomenon sweeping our country, turned bestseller, and it can change the quality of your life and how you love forever. And who doesn't want that? I know I do, I know you do. So how did it start? It started with a daughter who found 20 years of her mother's love notes to her family, friends, and to people she didn't even know, hiding them in little boxes all around her home, only to be discovered and read on the day of her funeral. It's an amazing story, and that daughter is Mary Lou Quinlan, and the book everybody is reading, including all the women in my family, all my friends. Here it is, the New York Times bestseller, The God Box, and I'm so glad to have you here, Mary Lou. It's just wonderful.
Thank you, Dawn.
But I have to go on with all of your credentials because this book is big enough, but I mean, not only did Mary Lou, not only are you a best-selling author, book author, I should say that you write for O Magazine, you write for Real Simple, and much more, but she's also a marketing maven who knows what women want. She specializes in women's wants, needs, and desires. So we want to get to that later, the marketing aspect and what we can all learn from you, especially so many women in the jobless market right now looking for jobs. But we want to start with the God Box. What is it, and how did it come about in your life?
Okay, well, the God Box starts with mom. Everything starts with mom. And a God Box, and this is mom's actual one, is really nothing when you look at it. A little wicker box, you could probably buy it for $1 at a yard sale, but this box was powerful because it was mom's. And she would learn about you, and she'd say, oh, Dawn's worried about this. And right away, she'd grab a piece of paper, whatever was handy, date it, write, Dear God, and the concern about you, specifically, real friendly, love Mary, fold it, put it in the box like a little scrap of paper, and let it go. That's the idea of the God Box, to give it over, to let it go.
And so what kind of person, you know, when we think of your mother Mary, what a strong woman to just, and what a faith, what a beautiful faith she has. Can you tell us about your mom and what kind of woman she is? Because she lives with all of us now. We feel like we know Mary, from heaven. I mean, at this point, but these are gifts from heaven, right? I mean,
they really are. They are to me, for sure. My mom was a wonderful woman, but I guess you'd say a regular mom, just loved us to bits, very compassionate. The kind of woman who would go to the checkout line or the airport or the Cracker Barrel or wherever the heck it was, and all of a sudden she's everyone's instant friend. And the reason was she was a good listener. And so people would confess things to her and tell troubles, or she'd see it in their eyes. She could tell when someone was hurt, and she would befriend them and say, I'll put it in the God Box. Oh. Even if they didn't know what it was, she would promise. And the trick of the God Box, of course, was once in there, to not keep worrying about it, to give it over.
And I love what she said, though, at one point was, well, either let it go and let it have the faith and put it in God's hands in the God Box, or
it's coming out of there.
Do you want it back? So it's like owning your problem or giving it up, and I love that.
It's true, because my brother and I, would ask her about something, and then you start noodling it and bringing it up again, and that's when she said, do you think you can handle it better? And there's nothing like that to make you back off and say, let's let the God Box have a shot at this.
Now, I also love that you saved your mom's. She would make you audio tapes, and you have voicemails, and we want to listen and watch one of these special memories from that your mom made. Let's listen.
I love you, and I miss you an awful lot. Okay? But I'm real happy. I really am, and you know I am. How could I not be? Boy, what a neat guy I'm married to, anyway. Who could want anything better? You know how that is. You've got a neat guy, too. Good night, honey.
I mean, it just, I know you've probably, you've heard that so many times over and over, and it gets you. We're getting all verklempt here on the show.
It still gets me. I know.
It's your mommy.
Every time I hear it, her voice is so fresh, like she just said it, and that's years and years ago.
How did all of this, I cannot even imagine what that must have been like. This is your best friend, and now you're planning her funeral, and you're finding this. And what was that like? Was it more painful? It helped you cope more? I mean, what was that process like through her illness and death to find this?
Yeah, what happened suddenly, she had a stroke on a Friday and went right into hospice, and it was by Monday night. I was with her in the middle of the night. And
so this shock.
Yeah, and so we're sitting, my father, who was 57 years married, adored her. They adored each other, and my brother, and we're just like a shell, And when Jack said, where's Mom's God Box? We thought, what? Oh, well, where? And I went looking and looking in her room, and I have to tell you, when I found that first one, it was like getting her back. You know, her words, her handwriting, a little piece. And then, of course, you read what they are, and it's the normal stuff of life, 20 years of our life.
Oh, it's amazing. And for your dad, was that healing for your father?
It was. He just loved her, and it made him realize just how deeply
and here they are,
she loved him.
57 years.
Yeah,
and
they had a saying which was always together, even in heaven. And my dad engraved a gold pendant that my mom wore her whole life that had that saying on it.
And where were the boxes that you were finding? Because they were all over, right?
They were. I went into her bedroom. That's the first place I thought. And I'm poking in her lingerie drawers and her jewelry closet. And I can hear her voice saying, all of this will be yours. You know, your mom is like that. And I just reached up into the closet. And when my hand hit something wicker, that's when I thought, because I had seen it, there's one. But I don't know why I reached up. There's another one. And there's another one. And my hand's going back. Like, what is bringing them down? And it was stunning. So many years.
And what was amazing to me was, too, that there were things in your lives, and I can relate to this because I went through fertility treatments and thought I couldn't have kids, and my 8-year-old now is IVF, in vitro. And so here you were. I mean, I have empathy for you and Joe, your husband, going through this. And most mothers would be, as you said in your book, would be so meddling and say, where are my grandkids?
Right.
And you learned more about her and just this amazing woman, that she was so empathetic.
Yeah, she never did that. In fact, if anything, she'd say, you guys are great, you have a great life. And then when I looked in the God box and found this little note, and it was a piece of my stationery, and she had written around the edge, please, if it's right, a child for Mary Lou and Joe. And I thought, she never really put that on me while she was alive. And I think of her being alone, thinking those thoughts, me being alone in fertility, not wanting to upset her. And it's just like we were joined again in the God box.
It's a beautiful connection. You know, as our conversation continues here on A New Dawn, we have my mom, Rosemary, on the phone. And we want to talk about that too, reactions to these, because I think everybody says, oh, well, my mother's like your mother, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I have a surprise for my mom, because she doesn't know I've been keeping some God boxes. I never thought to call them that like Mary Lou did, but some surprises for my mom as our conversation continues.